I want to demystify something today. The $500,000 expert business, because in most people's heads, that number sounds like a massive operation, a big team, a complex funnel, 12 different offers, a content machine running 24 hours a day, but it's not. The $500,000 expert businesses that I've coached and built are shockingly simple. And the gap between 100K and 500K is never about doing more. It's actually about doing less, but with better architecture. I want you to think about the physical reality of running a $150,000 consulting business right now. You're probably drowning. You have 19 clients, managing a dozen different spreadsheets and tabs on the screen. You're bouncing between Zoom calls from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and then doing all the actual client work until midnight. You took a pay cut from corporate to buy your freedom, but instead, you just bought yourself a much more stressful job. Let me give you a snapshot. A client of mine named Marcus was a fractional sales director. Year one, he made 180K working about 2,400 hours. That's about $75 an hour. We restructured everything, fired 11 of his 19 clients, and then we extracted his genius method. We built the offers around that method. We tripled his prices, and in year two, he made over 400K in revenue, worked about 1,200 hours. Year three, with one more pricing adjustment and a small team, he crossed that $500,000 line, and he took a 6-week vacation. Same Marcus, same expertise, different system. Today, I want you to think about this session as a private advisory session, just you and me in the room. I'm going to walk you through exactly what a $500,000 expert business looks like, the revenue streams, the team structure, the time investment, the operating system in the background. No more mystery, no hype, just the blueprint so you can see once and for all what that looks like. Let's get to work. I'm Luis Baez. I've spent over 15 years in sales leadership and revenue enablement. I was recruited to work at major tech companies like LinkedIn and Google and Uber and Tesla, where I contributed over 600 million in revenue impact. I've built these systems for startups doing their first million, for global companies doing their billionth, and the principles are the exact same at every scale. Now, I work with management consultants, fractional executives, and boutique agency founders. I help them replace the exhaustion of the hustle with systems that scale. Everything that I'm about to show you is the exact architecture that we install inside the Booked Busy Paid Accelerator. Let me break down the math first, because once you see the numbers, the path becomes obvious. A $500,000 business needs roughly $42,000 a month. That sounds like a lot until you realize there are only a few ways to get there, and you don't need all of them. Revenue stream one, retainer clients. That's your baseline. Predictable monthly revenues from ongoing partnerships. If you have 4 retainer clients at 5,000 per month, that's $240,000 per year, and it shows up every single month like clockwork. Revenue stream two are project based engagements. These are your one time or your sort of like multi month intensive offerings. So maybe you take on 2 projects per quarter at 15,000 each. That gets you 120K per year. Revenue stream three, group or leveraged offerings. We're talking workshops, cohorts, or a group program. One cohort per quarter with 8 to 10 participants at 3,000 each gets you to about 90 to 120K per year in revenues. Add those up. 240 in retainer plus 120 in projects plus 120 in group work. That equals 480K. Bump one retainer or one project, and you're over 500,000. That's 4 retainer clients, 8 project clients over the year, and 30 to 40 group participants over the year. That's it. Roughly 50 relationships generating $500,000. Not 500 clients, not a million followers, 50 relationships managed well, priced correctly, and delivered through a system. Now, let me show you what the operation behind that looks like. The $500,000 expert business doesn't require a big team. In most cases, it's you plus two or three people. Person one, a virtual assistant or an operations coordinator, they handle your email, your calendar, your CRM updates, your client communications using your templates, and they'll do all the project tracking, right? The cost of that person is 1,500 to 2,500 a month. The time saved to you is about 25 hours a month. And this hire alone lets you take on two to three more clients because you're not drowning in admin. Person two is a project manager or a delivery coordinator. And so they manage the life cycle of each engagement. Onboarding, milestone tracking, status updates, deliverable creations from all of the templates that you've set up, quality checks before anything reaches the client. This person on board, 3 to 5,000 a month, buying you, saving you about 35 hours a month. This hire lets you scale to three times your current capacity because you're no longer the bottleneck in your delivery. Person three, and this is optional at the 500,000, right? This is a delivery specialist or a co-facilitator. So this is someone that can run workshops on your behalf, facilitate group sessions, or co-deliver certain client engagements and deliverables. This could be a contractor paid per project or on a revenue share agreement. That's entirely on you. The cost of having this person on board is probably around $5,000 to $8,000 a month, or 20 to 30% of your engagement revenue. Um, so let's start to tally that up. The total team cost for most companies, most businesses at this stage, is $5,000 to $8,000 a month with your first two hires. Add a delivery specialist, you're closer to 10 to 15,000 a month. Either way, you're protecting 65 to 80% of your profit margin, and your time investment, 20 to 25 hours per week in the business, not 60, not 80, 25. And that's not a fantasy. That's what Marcus built. That's what multiple clients of mine are living right now. The difference between a 100K business and a $500,000 business isn't hustle, it's systems. At 100K, everything lives in your head. Your process is custom every time. Your pricing changes depending on your mood. Your follow ups happen when you remember. At $500,000, everything runs on infrastructure. You need four systems at this level. System one is a CRM that tracks every relationship from the first touch to renewal. So, no more sticky notes or forgetting to follow up, right? Every prospect, every client, every stage is visible in one dashboard. System two, automated onboarding that fires the moment that a contract is signed. We're talking about welcome emails, intake forms, kickoff scheduling, access to credentials, all automated. The client feels held from that very first minute, and you didn't lift a finger. The third system is a financial dashboard. Monthly recurring revenue, gross profit margin, client health scores, pipeline forecasts, cash flow projection. You review this every Monday morning for 15 minutes. And that's how you stop flying blind and start making decisions based on data instead of anxiety. The fourth system is a renewal and expansion engine. 60 days before a retainer is up for renewal, an automated sequence triggers check in emails, success recaps, next phase proposals. You're not scrambling for revenue at the end of a contract. You're planting seeds 60 days in advance. When these four systems are running, your business operates like a well maintained machine. Clients feel taken care of. Revenue is predictable, and you spend your time on high value work. Strategy calls, coaching, relationship building, not the administrative stuff that used to just eat up your entire week. This is what I mean when I say that you don't scale chaos. You have to architect your success. Let me give you an honest picture of what a $500,000 business week looks like. Monday, 15 minutes reviewing your dashboard, 1 hour on strategic planning or content, 2 hours of client delivery. Tuesday, you've got 2 to 3 client sessions, 1 hour of team coordination. Wednesday, you've got your group program facilitation or your workshop delivery, 1 hour of deep work on your method or your materials. Thursday, you've got two discovery or strategy calls, 1 hour of pipeline review. Fridays, you're off. They're protected, and that's non negotiable. That is roughly 20 to 25 hours of actual work per week. The rest is handled by your team and your systems. I know what some of you are thinking, that can't be real, but it is. But it requires one thing that most people resist, which is letting go of the belief that you have to do everything yourself. The founder who crosses $500,000 in revenues isn't the one that works the hardest. It's the one that builds the systems that let them work the smartest. It's the ones who design delivery that can be executed by a team and who price high enough to afford that team. And then they also trust the infrastructure enough to take Fridays off. That's not laziness, that's leadership. The goal isn't more clients, it's more calm, more control, and more cash flow. If you're sitting somewhere between 100,000 and 300,000 in revenues right now, and what I just described sounds like the business you actually want, let's map it out together. An alignment call is where we look at your current revenue, your offers, your capacity, and your systems, and we design the path from where you are to where you want to be. Not in 5 years, but in 12 months. This isn't about working more. It's about building the architecture that makes $500,000 simpler than $100,000 ever was. Go to bookbusypaid.com and book a time directly on my calendar. This is Unhustling, where we build slower, breathe deeper, and still get it all done on our own terms. I'm Luis Baez, and I'm in your corner.